Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is Tactical Organization Day. I've been going through all my stuff, seeing what I need to order, stuff like that. And I actually found an old box of some lures that I used when I first started. I actually have some that I still use to this day, but I thought it'd be a good idea for a video to kind of do like a basic lures for, like kids or if you're just starting getting bass fishing. And I thought it'd be cool to incorporate some of the lures that I first started using. So I threw a little box together and I'm going to show it to you guys. Alright, so here's the box of lures that I threw together. Some of my old stuff. So I'm going to go through and talk about these kind of individually and let's get going. Alright, so I kind of got this separated into a couple groups. This is pretty much stuff that I started using on spinning gear and some other lures as I kind of moved up to some bait casting and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through the spinning gear first, talk about the lures and stuff that I first started using and I think would be perfect for beginners. Alright, so the first baits we're going to talk about is obviously a Dropshot rig. And these are just some Robo-Worm straight tail. My favorite color is actually this oxblood color, but I didn't have a full one of those, so I can't remember what color that is, but this was the first technique I learned when I was like 10 years old. Super easy to tie, super easy to fish. Anyone, you could hand a 5-year-old a drop shot and they can catch fish all day. This rig just, it works. It's super finesse. On the most trickiest days it catches fish. May not catch big fish, but you sure catch a lot of numbers with this here rig. And obviously that's why everyone knows about this rig. So there's my first one. So here is the second technique I ever learned, which is Texas rig, but with a weightless Senko and a fluke. The first time I ever bought my own tackle, I had just one of those little 3500 Plano boxes and spent my birthday money on a package of EWGs, and they were actually, I think, the Christmas colors Senkos, and I just had a full day of slaying bass at my local pond. These weightless Senkos, they flat out work, and they're so easy to rig, so easy to fish. Obviously, that's why everyone knows and uses these. Same with the fluke. The fluke, I mainly have luck with it during the spring nowadays, but you can still catch fish on a fluke. And these are actually some of my favorite colors, the watermelon pepper, and I think that's green pumpkin black flake. Super easy for a beginning angler to use. So here is one of my most favorite baits to use. The lakes around here are primarily smallmouth, and what smallmouth doesn't love a tube? I learned to throw the tube a couple ways. Obviously, tube jig on smaller tubes, and Texas rig, flip it into bushes and stuff like that. And I used a light enough Texas rig to throw on spinning gear at first. And these, I can't remember what color that is, probably like a green pumpkin, but smallmouth love the smoke with red flake around here, so I use that one quite a bit, even to this. Alright, so here we have a couple Finesse jigs. This one's actually a 3/8 ounce, but I used to throw them in like a 1/4 ounce. I think this is just like a booyah bitsy bug. Super easy to throw on the spinning gear. And, of course, smallmouth, so they eat lots of crawfish around here. And never really had much luck with using like bigger jigs when I moved up to bait casters until recently, a few years ago. But throwing these on spinning gear was super fun. Lost a lot of them trying to throw them into deep cover, but super easy to use. Catch real nice fish even with these finesse style jigs, and really cheap too. Alright, so in every beginner's tackle box you should throw in a topwater. My first topwater was not this exact one, but a popper like this guy. Kind of similar color too. As a kid it was kind of frustrating to throw at first because you don't see a lot of action on these. But once you get your first strike, it is addicting. It is so cool to see a fish, especially big fish, just engulf these things. super easy to work, super easy to throw on spinning gear, and they work. I don't use them as much today. I've found some other awesome topwater that I use, but it flat out catches fish. Alright, now we're going to talk about a few baits I first through learning how to use a bait caster. Alright, first we're going to talk about the Buzzbait. Pretty straightforward. Throw it out there, crank it back in. This is my favorite bait to throw through summer and fall. As a kid, it is so much fun to watch these violent smallmouth just destroy these things. This is actually the first buzzbait I threw, the original one. I think everyone should have a buzzbait in their tackle box. These things are so much fun to fish with. You can get pretty tired throwing this thing all day long, but it's totally worth it. Alright, so I've thrown in a couple of crankbaits. These are just some bomber medium divers and a lipless. The lipless isn't the original one I had. I think it was an original rattle trap, silver blackback. People might think crankbaits are a little advanced for like a beginner, but I think it's just a really fun way to fish. I like power fishing more than slowing down and finesse fishing. Crankbait bites can be really aggressive, and that's why I thought I'd throw these in here, because if you want to get a kid addicted to fishing, let them throw a crankbait. I think they'll be addicted for life. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And go ahead and leave a comment with some of the lures that you guys first started using when you started getting into fishing, whether it was bass fishing, trout fishing, whatever kind of fishing. Leave a comment of your first lures you started using. And feel free to include some lures that you think I missed and would be perfect for a beginner to start throwing. And I'll see you guys next time.